Phillies lineup today. Bob Wankel covers the Phils for Crossing Broad. He'll join me in just a second as Phillies are getting ready to head back home in front of a full crowd. Now, if they don't get a full crowd after not having any baseball for as long as they did for the full capacity, does that mean no one cares? We'll find out tonight, I guess. Herrera, Segura, Hoskins, Realmuto, Miller, McCutchen, Bohm, Torreyes, Wheeler. Bob Wankel, Crossing Broad, covers the Phils. He's here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. What's going on, Bob? Oh, my bad. You got me?
I have you. You there?
Yes, I got you. I read that lineup off, and it seems to me, and I want to get your opinion on this, that Herrera has kind of taken over that role. Are you surprised that they made that move? I keep saying like Herrera hitting leadoff, and it's like, man, this is like the 15 Phillies here, how bad they were with Herrera up there. But are you surprised that he's up there and how kind of well he's handled it?
I guess I'm a little bit surprised at how well he's handled it, but I'm not surprised that he's hitting leadoff for this team right now. I mean, he's been an above-average offensive center fielder. Over the last 15 games, he has an OPS over 930 for the season and roughly like 115, 120 at-bats. Guy has a 794 OPS. He's been one of their best hitters, really going back now over a month. And, he's done a great job. I mean, we can argue about the morality issues. Should he have been given a second chance? But he's made the most of it, and, he's looked very much like the player that he was really in 2017, 2018, the first half of 2018, and not that guy that struggled down the stretch and then a really tough start to the 2019 season. So he's been one of the few bright spots.
It's really crazy how fast this all has happened. Like, he gets the call up, he's hitting like at the bottom of the order, they slowly move him up, and then boom, he's back at the top here. Now, we know this offense has struggled. They went for 17 the other day, and then in very Phillies fashion, they have 2 days off, one because of rain, one because of the off day here. But obviously, it's been a while since this team has really broken out here, and you keep hearing them say, well, one day, I think Hoskins said, well, one day it's just going to happen. One day it's just going to happen. Do we feel that June is here and that one day just happened that this offense has now turned the corner?
Yeah, well, just like I don't think the other night, I guess it was Tuesday night now, fixes all of their issues, I also don't think that they're the offense that scored only 13 runs over the previous 6 games before that. This is still an offense that has a lot of, productive hitters in it when they're fully healthy. I just don't think that Alec Bohm is going to continue to be as bad as he's really been the first 2 months of the season. I expect at some point Didi Gregorius to come back. Bryce Harper, I think, is getting closer, though, I think there was some initial hope that we might see him tonight. He's not in the lineup. So, I do think that they are better than they performed to this point. I know that offense around the game, at a whole, has not been quite as good this season. A lot of contact issues. I think that the truth probably lies somewhere in between. This is not going to be a top 5 offense and runs scored like it was a season ago, but I refuse to believe it's a bottom third offense.
So they're in the June now, and Girardi has said, hey, it's not early. We're in the season now. If Dave Dombrowski's looking around at this team right now and saying, I need an upgrade. We're hanging around. We're in this thing. Where's his upgrade?
Well, from a positional standpoint, you go up and down the lineup and you assume that everybody's healthy. Who are you quitting on? Are you flipping Gene Segura, one of your more productive hitters, for maybe somebody that has, I don't know, a little bit more pop? That's a potential, I guess, upgrade. I don't think it's in center field at this point. I don't really know what else you could really want out of your center fielder from an offensive standpoint, more than Herrera's given you over the last month. I guess the one spot that sort of jumps out is left field, and I know that's a little bit crazy. Andrew McCutchen's had some spurts here where he's still shown pop. He's still on pace to hit roughly 30 home runs, but the batting average has not been there. He's been very streaky. He's gone into prolonged slumps. So maybe if you want to make an upgrade in your lineup, you do it in left field. But other than that, I don't see them quitting on Alec Bohm at third base, even though obviously I don't think his future is there long term. You have very few young players that you need to build around moving forward, and I just don't think that you can take time away from him, even if he continues to struggle. So there's not a real obvious upgrade when it comes to the lineup. I do think, however, they need to improve this bench. And so I think it's twofold for the Phillies from an offensive perspective. Get guys healthy, Hopefully they play up to what they're capable of, and then you have to get some help off the bench, especially from the right side.
So that's interesting. So at this, and I kind of agree because I was thinking, I'm like, all right, if you're looking around like, okay, you're not replacing Hoskins unless you're trading Hoskins. It's like almost like you're not replacing them unless you're trading them as part of like the replacement. It's not like you're going to keep them and to add them as depth, I would imagine, if that makes sense. Like I'm not, like you said, do I want to replace Segura? I'm not just going to move him to the bench. I would have to essentially move him for a guy that I just think is flat out better. So it's almost like they have to just decide to make a bold move or some sort of change in philosophy. Otherwise, their moves seemingly are going to be depth-related. And I don't know that adding depth-related pieces puts you from the middle of the pack to, hey, this feels like a playoff team all of a sudden.
No, I mean, it's very simple. They need the guys they expected to play well, expected to hit well, and produce to just do better. I mean, it sounds like an oversimplification, but they've spent what they've spent. They're up against the luxury tax. There was an expectation this is going to be one of the best offenses in baseball, and it's just for a variety of reasons. Guys have slumped. They haven't been able to get guys hot at the same time, 3, 4, 5 guys all going at the same time. That's been an issue for years now. And certainly injuries have played a part in this whole thing as well. So that's really the bottom line. Unless they want to do something where they can just entirely change the DNA, the complexion of the team. And I think that the one move, and we may have talked about this previously, and it sounds crazy to say it, especially because he's been so good lately and on pace for 35 home runs and over 100 RBI. But if you wanted to do something crazy, really shake things up, I mean, maybe you make some calls and see what you could get for a guy like Rhys Hoskins. But other than that, I think they're kind of married, at least from the offensive standpoint, to what they have.
Yeah, that's interesting. So if you're Dave Dombrowski and you're overlooking this team, and as you just said, I need these guys to play better, or you come to the realization, no, this is who they are. It's just an average team. Rhys is a nice player. He's not a whatever. That's where it's going to be interesting come trade deadline. Does he pull the trigger on that, like, franchise kind of, I don't want to say altering, but like that, hey, it's time to move on from some of the guys who have just been here, and we've already proven that we're just an average team with them. The Hoskins, the Segura, that group of guys, I guess. I mean, everybody seems to be included in that, too. JT, you just signed him. You're not going to move him. You're obviously not going to try to trade Harper. I don't know. Do you say we're just an average team with Nola? I doubt that. So it's really like you got to really make the decision if you're Dombrowski. Do I want to really mix this thing up or just kind of stay the course and hope?
Yeah, well, I think the one thing you have to look at is that he's a seasoned baseball executive. He's not going to shy away from doing something uncomfortable or doing something difficult. I mean, this is a guy that has a lot of clout, has a lot of respect around the game. And if there was a president of baseball operations or a front office executive that was capable of doing something like this, it would be a guy like him.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a guy that comes in that's young or, might have, not that complete and total say over a roster. You go over like Matt Klentak and what he was 4 or 5 years ago. I don't think that he would have the stomach or maybe even the permission to make a move like that. But with Dombrowski, I think a big part of his hire, we've talked about this in the past, is that I think a big part of it is evaluation. I think that they wanted to hire a guy that has a lot of experience and he could come in and say, this is why your organization hasn't been up to par the last 10 years. This is where you guys are going wrong. And I don't think that he's making evaluations based on just 55 games in the 2021 season. I think he's making a lot of evaluations going back to last season, the year prior, and really all the way back to, I think, 2018. So when you look at this collective whole and say these guys just have not been able to fire on all cylinders, there's reasons for that. I think it actually might kind of increase the likelihood that they do something a little crazy. So we'll see.
That would be like doing something crazy, to me would be, I don't know if it's crazy because I think Hoskins is just, it feels like you're the 8 seed in the NBA when Hoskins is like your middle of the lineup hitter, right?
Yeah, they're sort of in this, like, it reminds me of the pre-processed Sixers where you have, I mean, at least that team made the postseason, but you have this team, you have a couple guys that you say, hey, they're pretty good players, but where are we going in the long run with them? And it's not a criticism of Rhys Hoskins, it's just that there's not too many moves that they can make if they really want to overhaul the roster and really do something different. So, that's why I'm pointing at Hoskins. It's not to suggest that he's the issue or that it's really a knock on him, but I just think that you're limited in what you can truly do. And so he's the one guy that sort of jumps off the page.
Yeah, I mean, and he seems like a guy that might have value too. I mean, that's another problem. You got to find someone that somebody else might value in return, and that takes me to the other guy, which is Nola. And this isn't like, hey, Nola stinks, you're not there, but they seem to be the only two guys that you didn't just sign long term to big money, which would be admitting, hey, we made a mistake with JT or signing Harper. We want to change directions. So the only two guys that seem would have value, interest, and can bring something back and just changes the mindset of the organization is Hoskins and Nolan, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. The issue is that, if you want to be competitive in 2022, is trading Aaron Nola helping you get there, and if Spencer Howard, let's say they went out, they spent a ton of money on Zach Wheeler, and he's been everything they could have hoped for, right? But if Spencer Howard had slotted in and was that legit 2 or 3 type of starter, maybe you kind of look at Nola and say, yeah, he's good, but we can flip him and add in different ways and sort of, recalibrate our roster. But Spencer Howard isn't that guy to this point. And, I like Zach Eflin. He's pitched pretty well, but he, I don't think that he's a number 2. I think he's like a number 3, good number 4. So I just don't know if trading Aaron Nola gets you closer, even though, again, he's one of the few guys I think that they could look to move that would change the makeup of the team. I just think that one's a little less likely.
This weekend, now do you think you're going to see a full house this weekend? Are you going to get a sellout?
Yeah, I do. I think that tonight, tomorrow with the 4 o'clock game, no Sixers, weather's supposed to be pretty nice. It'll be hot. It sets up pretty well to be good tailgating weather. I think both tonight and tomorrow. It looks like it's not going to rain now. At least that's what the forecast looks like. I think you'll see people out there. Yeah, I think people are going to be excited to get outside, tailgate, taking a ball game. Now, I don't know if they'll make it last. I think they'll probably have over 35 tonight. I would be shocked if it was less than that. But are they going to be able to sustain that number? Right now, I would say probably not, based on just the juice that you see when you listen to Sports Talk Radio. I'm sure that you guys aren't getting a ton of juice for Phillies. It seems like Twitter, everyone kind of hates the Phillies right now. So I don't know that you're getting that natural buzz, but I do think you're going to want people, or you're going to see people that are going to want to get back out there.
Well, you're getting a good one tonight. You got Wheeler Scherzer tonight. You got Eflin going against Ross tomorrow. And so there you go. You get the Wheeler Scherzer. So you get a good one tonight as the Phillies take on the Nats at Citizens Bank Park. Bob Wankel crossing Broad, and the Phillies 4 games back right now in the National League East. We'll see if Dave Dombrowski. Now it's June. Now we start to look to what's next in this baseball season, which is in the, what did Charlie used to call it, hitting season. All right, Bob. Well, I'll see you tomorrow, man.
All right, I'll talk to you, Mike.
Bob Wankel, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda Hotline.